back there, you'll see a black rhinoceros. Kind of looks like a big boulder. Doing a pretty good job at that camouflage. Those black rhinos are critically endangered with less than 5,000 individual rhinos left in the world. That's including that one that you saw. They don't have any natural predators though. That is all due to the poaching of their horns. More people will probably ride this ride today than there are rhinos left, sadly. Now, as I said, these animals rely on camouflage. They're going to use their coloring or patterns to blend in with these trees. Actually, if you look off to the left, there's another black rhino up there. Kind of see it a little bit better.
Well, look, sitting down already.
So it is really important that we use our paper products responsibly, since paper comes from the trees that all these animals depend on. Up on the hill on the left are some greater kudu, these tan antelope. We can tell those ones are females though because they don't have any horns. The males will have horns that spiral backwards, about 6 feet long. Now we are leaving the forest behind and we're gonna head up towards the Stoppy River. The animals that live here spend the majority of their time underwater. Nice to keep cool, but also camouflage. Keep your eyes open for any bubbles or ripples on the surface, as there might be an animal hiding underneath. If you look off to the right, way back there, you might see a Nile hippopotamus. It is doing a pretty good job at hiding. Those hippos are going to spend the majority of their time underwater. Looks like there's also these pink-back pelicans. They get that name for that slight pink coloring on their back. It's going to be there all year round. They definitely get a lot brighter during mating season. Now, as I said, those hippos spend most of their time underwater. They can hold their breath for about 5 minutes. So every 5 or so minutes, they're going to float up to the surface, take a big breath of air, and sink back down. They will do that while asleep sometimes, while completely asleep. They're also herbivores, which means they really don't only eat plants. They'll come out at night on graze on about 80 pounds worth of grasses, and then go back in the water. Technically they can swim, but they don't prefer to since they are so heavy. They kind of just sink to the bottom and bounce along down there. It's more of a run than a swim. Off to the left down there, it looks like there is a hippo. You can see pretty well.
Oh, there he is.
Make sure we stay seated, friends.
It's swimming in the water.
Hi, friends. Make sure we stay seated. Make sure we stay seated.
Look back one.
As we cross over this bridge, there's a couple more animals down to your left that you can see. These are the Nile crocodiles.
Here, look.
Those crocodiles are pretty impressive. They can weigh anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pounds. They're as long as a giraffe is tall, and they have the strongest jaw and bite force of any animal. All that being said, they are really amazing parents. That's something we think a lot about when we think about crocodiles. But they will take their eggs, put them in their mouth, and then roll them around very, very gently. That'll help break up the shell, making it a lot easier for those babies to hatch. Now, it seems like we are headed towards dry land, and the first sign of that is this baobab tree up on the right. It is going to be leafless about 9 months out of the year just to conserve water. As we head down into the savanna here, you might notice the trees have thinned out quite a bit, and that's because it doesn't rain as much out here. So the animals here can't really rely on camouflage as there's nothing to blend in with. So they're going to be very agile and flighty. Most of them can run within an hour or two of being born. Off to the right, way under that tree over there, are some little antelope. Those are the springbok. They can jump about 6 feet up and 13 feet across. Kind of looks like a whole bunch of ping pong balls hopping across the savannah when they all do it at once. Got a lot of animals off to the right. These brown ones are the sable antelope. They are the official emblem of the reserve out here. And that's because when there is danger, they will not run away. They will actually stay and fight. They have those long horns and they are not afraid to use them.
He was
identify each other is by memorizing those stripe patterns. It's also how we identify them. Looks like there's going to be a couple more giraffes coming up ahead on the left. Looks like one of them is munching on some food, so you might get to see that tongue I was talking about earlier.
Right now, right? Oh, look at that.
The little one.
A baby!
There's a baby back there! There's two of them. There's three of
Looks
them.
like back in the back, there's actually one sitting down.
Oh, it's sitting
That's
down.
a full-grown giraffe, just
It's
sitting down.
sitting down already.
Yeah. They don't really like to sit down though, so it's pretty cool that we get to see one sitting down. They only do that when they feel very, very safe because it is quite vulnerable for them. They might also see off to the right those ankle cattle with those really huge horns. They are hollow with a honeycomb-like structure on the inside. That helps blood flow, keeping them nice and clean. Off to the right is an African elephant.
I love them too. Here, play,
Yeah, that's your favorite animal.
look at this.
And if you look to the left, you'll see some mandrills. They are the largest old world monkeys. But I know elephants are pretty cool too.
That's there's monkeys over there. Is that the bud?
You might notice that elephant flapping those ears back and forth. That is what I like to call its own personal ear conditioning. And that's because they have a lot of blood vessels in those ears, so when they move them back and forth like a fan, it's going to create little air pockets, and that will cool them down an extra 15 degrees. Really, really helpful for hot days like today. Seems like we are getting deeper into elephant country though, because these are some red clay pits that we're getting into. Elephants love to eat red clay. It is very nutritious. So the same way that we might have a vitamin or a supplement every day, elephants are going to eat red clay as an extra form of nutrition. Off to the right are some tusk marks. So the herd was probably through here earlier. Elephants are matriarchal, and that means that the oldest or wisest female is going to be the dominant one in charge of the herd. Males will leave at about 15 years old to go hang out by themselves, but sometimes they will even form a little bachelor herds.
Look.
All elephants. All elephants. Elephants are unfortunately running into a lot of conflicts out there in the wild. They are losing their homes and getting forced closer and closer to people, specifically farmers and their crops. Not knowing any better because they're elephants, they stomp all over the crops, and that upsets the farmers, putting the elephants in danger. But luckily we did some research recently and learned that elephants are afraid of bees. They have very sensitive skin and do not like to be stung. So now this is actually happening out in Kenya. Those farmers are building fences made out of beehives. That scares off the elephants, which keeps them safe. It also keeps the crops safe and therefore the farmer's livelihood. Kind of a win-win for everyone all around. See a couple elephants off to your left there.
Look at that big tree.
Hi friends, make sure our little ones are staying seated the entire time. Thank you.
And then just the dog.
using filter feeding. So if you can picture a pasta strainer, the noodles stay stuck inside, but the water comes out. That's how their beak works. Food's going to get stuck inside and the water comes out. So it is really, really important that we keep our waterways clean. That way no plastic or trash ends up in those flamingo beaks. Coming up on the left are some white rhinoceros. White rhinos are the most social species of rhinos. They're going to hang out in groups like this called a crash. They get that name lovingly because they do not have the best eyesight, so they are constantly crashing into each other. Unfortunately though, rhinos, as I said, are critically endangered. That is due to the poaching of their horns. Those horns are thought to have medicinal value to them. They will